Welcome to Wild Her Wisdom, the podcast where bold meets brilliant and wisdom gets a little wild. Join Shelley and Mary as they dive deep into real conversations about life, leadership, creativity, and everything in between. We're here to spark laughter, light up inspiration, and celebrate the wild and wise woman inside you. Whether you're chasing dreams, finding your balance, or just in need of a good laugh, you are right where you belong. Let's jump into today's journey together. This is Wild Her Wisdom.
All right, friends, welcome to Wild Her Wisdom. Mary has been working overtime, just getting amazing guests lined up. And I am so excited for who she has in store today. I've been doing some cyber stalking, so I know a little bit about her myself already. You can't see her. We're on video together. She looks fabulous. She did her hair for this, so way to go. Mary, tell us about our guest.
Well, I've known of this fabulous woman for quite some time, though she doesn't know that. So now I totally sound like a stalker. But Leslie Hart Davidson is a self-described democratic designer, food is love advocate, and believer in give. She runs HDD Studios, a full-service interior design studio. She's an author, an edutainer, a mentor, and so much more. And I could go on, but we'll just hear it from the horse's mouth. Leslie, there's a lot to that introduction. What a journey your whole life has been. What does an average day in your life look like?
An average day. I wish there was something average about my days now, but I did not intend at this point in my life, and I'm 53, so I'm happy to be in the 50s club with you.
Oh, yeah. Welcome.
Ladies, yes. In my era of zero fucks given.
Yes.
Especially since the universe gave me some interesting things over the last year. But average days now look a little more real life-ish in running multiple businesses and making sure that my kid is okay. Kid lovingly, she's 20 and is amazing and the best part of my life. But taking care of my crew at number 10, which is my new passion project, and I feed them every day, and I'm just a mile from the site. So I check in on them quite frequently. I still have a full complement of interior design clients and spend the rest of my time and energy trying to make the world a better place.
That's a beautiful thing.
That is a beautiful thing. And so, Leslie, I said I did a little stalking on you before you came on here. We do friendly stalking on the show. We're just talking about friendly cyber stalking, not any negative kind here. But you said you're part of the 50s club. Love that, girl. Gen X, we're here proud.
Yes.
The just IDGAF generation. That's who we are. Your writing's a little sassy, which we love here on Wild Her Wisdom. So was that always, Leslie, or has it evolved over time? Is it your experiences, your age, or have you always been a little sassafras?
Oh, that's an excellent question. So growing up as a proper Gen X girl, I'm fluent in pop culture. And because my older brother is 5 years older, I had the luxury and the benefit of being raised by silent generation parents who didn't give a shit about wait, are you alive? Wait, did you get hurt? Rub some dirt on it.
Put some Windex on it.
Yes. So when I was growing up, I always had the opportunity to do all the cool things that my big brother did. So I would stay up and watch Saturday Night Live. And and we watched South Park as a family and Beavis and Butthead. So humor is our love language in my family. And because of that, it gave me an opportunity to be sassafras. And I found as well in my life that humor is a tremendous way to deflect, to avoid conflict. It is a more common language than we think, and I use it very frequently in parenting, in client relationships, and in other ways in order to cope. So I have been Miss Sass for my whole life.
I love it. But I think about you're using humor to sort of bring the temperature in the room down, right? It sounds like you're using it so things don't get too heated. And I love that because like you said, it's a common language, but also as a signal to people don't take things so serious.
Yeah. Because did you die? No? Okay, then you're fine. You're fine.
Right. You're sassy, yes, but you're also a giver. Your core philosophy is
Mhm.
give, and when in doubt, give more. What does that mean to you?
Give is my religion. So husband and I had the beautiful journey of being together for 38 years, and we kind of grew up together. So we started dating just when I was out of middle school. And neither of us were particularly religious, but we knew that we were good humans. And as soon as we were able to escape our hometown of Springfield, Ohio, yes, that Springfield,
Mm.
Mhm. and wanted a life bigger than what would be available in our hometown. So we both wanted to be educated. We're both first gen college students. And we worked really, really hard for a lot of years in order to create a life where we could give back to others. And that comes in all sorts of flavors, whether it's taking care of other children. I've taken in so many other children, even though I have one, and I won the baby lottery, and I'm so very grateful to have that opportunity. But I've taken other people's kids and took in some relatives, and have been genuinely helpful to the world because, like, I have a choice. It just seems so natural to me. And my parents were the same way. And I watched their examples. I was steeped in like a giant tea of giving. My dad would have given you the shirt off his back. And my mom was an amazing mentor to all the young women in her office. She worked for the city of Springfield for so many years. And watching how good they were, of course, I wanted to continue that mission. And the best way that I can honor so many folks in my life who have passed is to continue their missions of good. And my deepest fear as Gen X, even though I say I'm in the Zero Fucks Given Club, like, oh my God, I'm not an asshole, am I? So I like fact check myself, like, wait, am I being an asshole? Because that is my biggest fear right there. Like, I do not want to be perceived as an asshole to the world, because I have this mission of doing so much in order to give.
I always
Wow.
say if I started a religion, it would be called Don't Be an Asshole. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not an organized religion, but if you can just live your life and just not be an asshole, you're doing a pretty darn good job, right?
Oh yeah,
So,
yeah. It's a very like, and I actually have a mural painted in my laundry room that says "Do epic shit and don't be a dick." It's just,
love it.
just don't be a dick. Yeah.
Listen, this is the litmus test, people. Okay, it's not that
Yeah.
difficult.
Yeah. The bar is low, especially now.
You're
Don't be a dick.
You have been featured on TV, which you do have
Mm-hmm.
you have a face for TV, my friend.
Oh, I
You
love it. I love it
presented,
so much. Mm-hmm.
you presented in a bunch of home shows, you've been in magazines, you've
Mm-hmm.
authored 3 books,
Mm-hmm.
which is, I'm going to say them here so people know. It's Not Your Room, It's You. That one's about design.
Mm-hmm.
Food is Love, Sassy, Snarky, and Savory. Love the title so hard. Wait, did I miss one?
Remodeling your house without killing your spouse. Because homicide
Thank
is not a
you.
thing during home improvement. No.
That's right. That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's a
Yep.
great one because remodeling anything with your spouse is
Challenging.
it's
Mm-hmm.
challenging.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is on your bucket list? Like you've done so much. I can tell you're the type of person that doesn't take a day of life for granted.
Not a one.
What's on your bucket? Do you have anything on your bucket list? Because you're doing so much already.
Let's look. Let's look, Shelley. Flips through a zillion pages and her 15 journals. Bucket list now, because I feel at this point the universe gotta give me a little something, right? Because having lost my my dad, and then my mom, and then my big brother, and then my husband. Yeah, I got some good karma coming, I would like to think. And I'm going to spend the next 50 years of my life, because I intend to live that long. This is
Love it.
just part one, because I have so much to accomplish on that bucket list. And I consider it less a bucket list than a very specific to-do list, because I want to change the world for good. And my deepest bucket list item is in the creation of number 10, which is the little mid-century modern house down the street that I purchased just shortly after Bill had passed away. And first I thought, oh, I'll just use it as a little rental. And then after my daughter and I walked into it and discovered its beauty and its joy, and we always, like as a family, we paid attention to that particular house because we would pass it on the way home every day. And in the last like 15-ish years that we've lived on the compound, it has been for sale 7 times. So it became a running joke, right? Like you come home like, oh, I wonder who's moving in today. Because there'd always be like a moving truck out front. And I felt bad for the house. Because the way that I feel about houses is that I am its steward. So the compound, this farmhouse is over 150 years old. I am its steward. I am tasked with taking care of it. And the mid-century modern, so number 10, so-called because it is 10, East Sherwood, number 10 had been neglected and improperly flipped, which would make my parents very upset because they were real estate flippers in the 70s before it was a thing.
Wow.
Yeah. So I grew up in houses being remodeled. So I had that love and respect and attention. So I don't just decorate. No, I make sure that everything is structurally sound and that the users of the space are going to love it. But when I walked in there and I realized that there was an opportunity not only to use it as Airbnb, and I would restore it to its mid-century modern glory because decisions were made for that house. And they were like, the fuck were you thinking? It really, really terrible decisions that took a lot of budget to undo, but I have an amazing team and it's fantastic. So restoring it to its glory, yay, and users of the space will enjoy it. At the same time, I realized that my mission of mentoring and empowerment could extend not just to the 100+ interns that I had mentored since 2007, but I had a greater responsibility to the community at large and all the young women who are now under a, how do we say politely, regime that would not appreciate everything that women have to give to the world.
Mm-hmm.
So I will be empowering as many women as possible within the space through Lulu University. And Lulu is my great-grandmother who passed away in 1906, shortly after she gave birth to my grandmother, because she did not have bodily autonomy. She didn't have access to proper medical care. She couldn't own a bank account. She couldn't own property. So everything that I'm doing in number 10 is in the name of Lulu to set things straight.
Wow.
So my
I have chills.
I know. I just
all
got
over my body.
goosebumps.
Yeah.
Thanks, Lulu. Yeah. So the mission of Lulu University and all the classes that I will teach at number 10 are for the purpose of empowering women, taught by women, for women, and women of all genres, flavors, types. Young women, as my daughter's on the spicy spectrum, and she is helping to develop content and curriculum to empower other spicy kids to be productive human beings, to have great relationships, to find the career that they love. And it's just as many other opportunities as I have. And the number of women who I've talked to since last summer who are interested in participating in anything Lulu related is overwhelming. And the best thing is that it's women of every belief structure, of every religion, of every class, of every educational experience. They all went in.
Wow.
And how glorious is that? That just under the umbrella of women and empowerment, we can accomplish so much.
Oh my gosh. I am just, that says a lot for me to be nearly speechless, but I am in love with this, and the world is so fortunate to have you.
Yeah, I think so too.
Thank you. That's a new skill for me. Instead of saying, oh no, it's nothing, like whatever. Thank you. I shall take my flowers. I appreciate it.
Speaking of skills, you came upon a certain skill, not in the best way, and that is being sort of a grief virtuoso. I mean, you said you've lost your parents, your brother, your husband. you refer to your most recent loss of your husband as the Great Fuckery, which I think is a great way to explain it. And then you really have learned about actionable grief, and you've made it a mission to sort of teach people and spread the message and help them with actionable grief. Can you get into some detail about that?
Absolutely. A virtuoso, my my lovely therapist pointed this out to me because I had referred to myself as a cockroach with a chitinous exoskeleton because I could survive anything. I'd survived so many losses, deaths in my past that I unfortunately got good at it because I had 10,000 hours of practice.
Mm.
So he stopped me one day when I mentioned the cockroach reference and he said, Les, you are not allowed to say that anymore because it's disparaging. So I would prefer instead to call you a grief virtuoso. Whether you intended to practice that or not, this is still where we are. So I took that term because I've had so much practice at it. And that practice afforded me an opportunity to take in what people were saying to me. So there are the grief stricken, the people who are grieving, and then there's the grief adjacent.
Mm-hmm.
There are folks who can empathize, meaning that they have had similar experiences in some way. And there are those who can sympathize, meaning, oh, I wonder what that would be like. It sounds like it sucks. And I'm genuinely happy for people who can only sympathize because that means they have experienced the trauma and pain that comes along with that. And those who empathize, often they want to share the stories. And there's sometimes when I'm in the mood to hear that and we'll say, yes, doesn't it suck? And we can be part of the Dead Parents Club or the Dead Husbands Club, or it sucks to have to belong to one of those, but here we are.
Right.
But in many respects, as I started posting the Great Fuckery Weekly, and it's just an update, and it was a practice because I love to write. My therapist has suggested that if I keep track and even made it public, so I put it on Facebook so that people could make sure that the kid and I were okay in all of this. But I did an entire 52 weeks of the Great Fuckery and would post. Early on, it was the actionable items were when I started to learn boundaries and had to tell people, no, you're not allowed to show up and walk in my house and do that because I'm not having a great day. Please stop bringing me food. I love you. Stop bringing me food. I have the studio on my property and the house, very large refrigerators, and I was full and I had to give it all away. So when I started setting boundaries on actionable grief, and I absolutely love that people wanted to reach out, but the performative part of grief and everything that we as a society have been taught is, oh, you take a casserole or you take food or you send a card or you drop by. But how about we change that up? So the week that I started posting and saying, here's how to help an HD today, donate to the Williamston Community Food Bank. Don't bring me anything else. I'm perfectly capable of cooking. I appreciate everything. Thank you so much. Here's how you can direct your willingness to help me. Donate to the food bank. And they got a crap ton of money. Here's how you can help the kid. She said that she loves Skittles. Within 10 minutes, DoorDash kept showing up with Skittles. And I have a 2-foot deep bucket of Skittles because that is how willing and helpful everyone was to respond to actionable grief. So when you tell people specifically what you need, it's amazing. And when you say, please don't do this, it is amazing. So that was one of my big girl accomplishments. But actionable grief means asking for exactly what you need in exactly the moment and being able to move forward. But the other part of actionable grief was taking in other people's trauma and drama. It's called the Great Fuckery and not the Great Sadness for a reason. Because an important lesson that I learned is that grief does terrible things to people who are not at peace with themselves. Sit with that for a second, because it is so true. And the reason why this is called the Great Fuckery is not only from the institutional bureaucracy of death and how terrible that was to manage, but also that a fringe contingent of Bill's family decided to use their powers for evil and not good. And it became really apparent. And they are now, the rest of the extended family does not even recognize their existence because of the fuckery.
Wow.
In response to grief. Can't choose what happens to you in life, but you can choose how you respond to it. And my choice was to do good for the world and to help people understand actionable grief. And if I can take that message and that mission to be able to do keynote speeches and teach people how to be better humans when it comes to grief. So when you're grief adjacent, here's the stupid shit that you don't say. Like, oh, if I were you, I would driven off a cliff. Like, but you're not me.
Right.
Because I have a chitinous exoskeleton. And I understand that you can't fathom that, but let's not suggest that. How about we not suggest that anymore? That's not the best way to respond. So being able to suggest alternative ways to help those for the grief adjacent to say, oh, maybe it's not a good idea if I suggest that you unalive yourself because your person just died too, because I can't possibly imagine that. Well, good. Again, I'm glad for you if you can only sympathize, not empathize. But there are some rules and some suggestions that I will be putting around actionable grief. And my project for the rest of the year, outside of getting number 10 ready, will be writing the grief manual and having suggestions. So based on my week 52, so my full year of the Great Fuckery posts, I came up with 10 lessons that I had learned from this experience of this first year. And those will be the chapters in the grief manual that will lead to discussion questions and have journal pages in it as well. Because this isn't just a performative grief book. It's an actionable grief book. And that will give folks the opportunity to learn more. And grief comes in all kinds of varieties, whether it is ending a relationship or actual loss of a person or a mental health crisis. There are lots of different, being displaced in some way, so many varieties of grief, and everyone has an opportunity to learn from this experience. So if I can take my pain and turn it into something useful to empower others to be better humans and to get through the most unimaginable pain, then that's what I will spend my time doing.
That's going to be an incredible book.
Yeah. You said so many things that, like, there's so many threads I could pull on there, like, the performative part of the adjacent grief. I lost my dad, and you understand, that it doesn't impact everyone the same way. And so it's the bringing up the things. And I remember I had a very good friend who had lost her mom a couple of years before that. And she said, it's really about who's left after the casseroles are done, right? Like who's left then. And what you said about, people, well, if I were you, this, like, you don't know how you would behave. And that's really other people's, they don't have anything to say. So they're just talking instead of saying, I really don't know what to say. I'm at a loss for words, but I'm so sorry. Right. Like there's that piece of it too. So you just touched on so many things that I could go on and on about, but I think what's most impactful to me in this conversation is how you are making it so tangible in lessons for everyone, and trying to turn it into something really good and actionable, like you said. And so you literally have people returning shopping carts and committing these acts of kindness. What do you think Bill would say? Would he be surprised, or would he be like, yeah, this is just Leslie?
Oh, that's a great question. I wonder every day as I'm taking these next steps, as I'm, and it's pretty ballsy, the stuff that I'm doing. Like, oh, I'm going to change the world. Like, of course I am. But
I believe you 100%, just so you know.
Thank you. But because he was my biggest cheerleader since I was 14.
Mhm.
He always believed in me. In fact, he's the one who convinced me to start my business. I never intended to do that. I never thought that that would be my calling in life, but it's the best decision I ever made. And he's the one who said, of course you're going to do that. And that supported me in all the ways that he could. So he was big believer in me writing the books. So without an agent or anything else, he's like, no, there are no obstacles. Just sit down and write it. I believe in you.
I love it.
Believe in you. So I think that every day as I come up with something even more ridiculous, like, I'm going to change the world. I'll do a TED Talk. I will do all the things in order to empower women and change the world. And I'm certain that he would be saying, of course.
Girl, my money's on you.
Yes.
My money is on you.
You know, it's interesting too, when you go back to the grief adjacent, something else I notice people do, you know, because you don't know what you don't know, but it almost feels like you're not allowed to have a good day when you're grieving. Oh my goodness, she smiled today. You know, the blasphemy, that kind of thing just really, it just really rocks me to my core. So hopefully you delve into that as part of the etiquette too. You can have good days. You can laugh. You can smile. You can keep on living.
Indeed.
Where's the sin in that?
There is zero sin. And there's also no judgment around grief because people in different ways. And there are some pearl clutchers who will go, oh, she's out in the world. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
But the depth of my sadness or my performative sadness to the rest of the world is not equivalent to how much I loved him.
Right.
There's no direct correlation there because I have some awesome days, I have some shitty days. And other people are not allowed to judge. And I will not judge other people for how they are reacting to their grief. I just happen to be virtuoso with 10,000 hours, and I know the coping skills required in order to get through the day. And I have businesses to run, and I have a kid to take care of, and I have so many critters on the compound. I got shit to do, and I will grieve in the times in between. And I'm not, I don't make public all of the times that I do grieve. So thank you. Do not judge me for what I am not actively posting or seeking attention for online. That's not, yeah.
I would say everyone is the only expert on themselves. And so if we could just honor that, and if we could add, you know, to our don't be an asshole and don't judge. And then
and I'm sure you're teaching your kid that as well. You know, you're a Gen X raising a Gen Z versus your mom as a silent Gen raising a Gen X.
Yes. That dynamic is fascinating because she has taught me so much more than I have taught her. And I always joked that I was like C- parent. I'm like an A+ mentor, but I was like C- parent because I'm like, oh yeah, okay. But the reason why it was more mentoring than parenting is because I won the baby lottery. I had 5 years of fertility treatments, like nothing, could not, like nothing works. Thank you. And Bill had looked at me at that point and said, you're enough for me. We are our own family. Everything's fine. So that was around our 10th wedding anniversary. Got on a plane, went to Hawaii, renewed our vows on the beach. It was beautiful. We got totally okay with just being us. And we came back and unloaded all the luggage and hit the answering machine because this is back in 2004. And it was ex-sister-in-law. And she and brother-in-law had divorced a couple years before. And she met new partner and they had very young twins. They were still infants. And she called and said, I'm pregnant again and we can't keep the baby. Would you like it? Holy shit. Okay. Yeah. So that's happening. That's happening. So I won the baby lottery because Bill and I built our family and child came to us. So because I know chills again, right?
Right.
Yeah, I got to tell that story at the Moth in Ann Arbor, and that was one of my bucket list items, and it was one of the best days of my life because Bill and Lily were both there. It was
Oh
glorious.
my gosh.
It was so cool, so cool. But because she came from that situation, I always looked at her not as my possession because she didn't come out of me. I territorial and mama bear-ish, but not like shiny possession that is my own and I must mold because she belonged to the world.
Mhm.
And I made sure that everyone else had access to her. She still has relationships with all the biologicals and everyone else. And that like by her choice and by mine, I continued that this whole time. And because she belongs to the world, I raised her and mentored her to be that good soul and to think above and beyond like what is biology, because I have very little family left, but my family, my friends, my chosens are legion, and I maintain those relationships and I love them all, and the kid has like 50 people she could call if she ever needed anything
Mm.
Mhm.
because of that investment in the relationships in our lives. Yeah.
Wonderful. I
Mhm.
wonder if that's a Gen X quality because I'm sort of the same with my kids in that, like, I didn't pierce my daughter's ears when she was born. Like,
Uh-huh.
I didn't say like you have to belong to this religion. Like, I'm like whatever you want to be, whoever you are. I'd have a really hard time if they're a MAGA Republican. I'm going to be totally
Yeah,
honest, but
that's
that wasn't around when they were born, and thankfully that's not where we are. But like, I'm
yeah.
just like be you, like whatever makes
Oh
sense.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
if you like it,
Uh-huh.
I love it. Like,
Uh-huh.
so I wonder if that's generational or if we just have that as a coincidence.
That is very interesting. I had to undo a lot of what my mother, bless her heart,
Mm,
what she did,
Mm.
because she did the best she could with the information she had at the time. But as my daughter got older and entered the teen years, she would look at me and say, "Do you really want to talk to me like that? Do you really want to have that kind of relationship?" I'm like, holy shit. Okay. Yeah, no, we can have an adult conversation and I can level you up and we can reason with each other and set those boundaries. And my favorite boundary story, and I swear she has taught me so much more than I have taught her. But as Gen X, like uh, um, gifted, talented, gold star, never had detention, honor roll all the time, right? And that's just my baseline because if you do not crush it every day, then what are you even, right? So
oh my
that
gosh, are we twins? Are we
I
the
I
think
same
we
know.
right.
person?
So that's just the baseline expectation. In the kin keeping and the caretaking of my family as well, my my go-to, my initial reaction was, okay, how can I fix this for you? So if you come and tell me something like, all right, what do I need to do? How can I help? So yes, I'm going to leap into action. I will listen to you and I'll say, oh my God, that's so terrible. As an empathetic soul, I will absorb all of your ick, and then will take action. And there's one day when I had long history of doing this with all kinds of family members and friends as well who would gladly go "Bleh" on me,
Mm.
not realizing the toll that it takes on an empathic soul. And she came to me and said, "Oh, like this went wrong." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So, and just immediately leapt into action. She said, "Wait, I didn't ask you to fix it. I'm just telling you." I'm like, "Oh, maybe I
Hmm.
don't have to fix everybody else's shit. Maybe I don't have to." And then she said, "I just wanted to run through my plan so that you can tell me if I'm doing it correctly, and I'll do it on my own. I just wanted to let you know." Ladies, it was the most liberating thing I have
Yeah.
ever felt. And then I started to test drive that. The next time, like a different family member would say, "Oh, this went wrong." I'm like, "Oh, that sucks."
Hmm.
And I just left it at that. And it was the most empowering thing ever because
Isn't it?
not using that energy to fix everybody else's shit, guess what happens?
Yes.
It leaves you so much energy to take care of your own stuff and be able to.
Like I got my own shit to shovel over here, people. Okay.
I got piles. piles of shit that I can dig through. That's one of the most empowering days of my life. And I tell the kid that all the time. And we have an amazing relationship as a result of that. One that I never got to have with my mom because she died when the kid was 3.
Mm.
And I never had the opportunity to explore that kind of dynamic with her because it was always, you are my daughter, you will do what I say.
Mm-hmm.
And that there's no question around that. No question whatsoever. I was a good girl. I was a very good girl.
Mm-hmm.
We could explore so much more. We're about to head into our Wild Her Wisdom No Filter finale, but I have one more question because you have number 10. Is there any way the community can help you with number 10? How can we support you?
That would be absolutely delightful. So the website is forthcoming, and on my Facebook page, I will give updates weekly, and then there will be a Substack involved with that as well. So there will be updates, and we're hoping to have a September 5th community launch of number 10 so that folks can see what it looks like as a workshop space, as an Airbnb rental, and then as the setting for my YouTube cooking channel there as well. But it will be a glorious event, and I'll keep everyone posted on that. But in the meantime, if there are folks who are educators and have skills to share, or if they want to be mentored or be part of this Lulu University goal that I have, it would be absolutely delightful. And I would love to speak to as many women as possible about it.
Nice. I'll raise my hand as an educator for you. We can connect offline.
Fantastic. Thank you.
All right. So this is our favorite time, not our favorite time, but it's a really fun time. This is our Wild Her Wisdom No Filter finale. So we're going to ask you some questions. You're just going to say the first thing that comes to your mind. There is no right or no wrong answer. Are you ready?
Ready? Lay it on me.
Okay. A design trend you'd love to never see again.
Oh, sunken living rooms. Hazard, man. Yeah, no, thank you.
The room in the house that reveals the most about someone.
Their kitchen.
Ooh.
Oh, I love to watch clients and how they maneuver their kitchens. As I can tell, if you never really cooked, if you cook all the time, I'm super judgy about how your cabinets are organized and what your spices look like.
Nice.
Mhm.
First thing that makes you laugh no matter what.
9-year-old boy humor, like South Park.
Love it.
One thing people should say more often.
Thank you,
Grief in one word.
motherfucker.
Mm.
Hmm.
Best advice you ever ignored and glad you did.
You should want less in life and just be a mom.
I'm glad you ignored that too.
Yeah.
Your personal definition of home.
The compound, but it's also the place where the bra comes off and there are no rules. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When the credits roll on your story, what do you most hope people remember about you?
That my bucket list continued to grow until the day I died.
That is amazing.
Whew.
Leslie, you have been an absolute dream to have on here today. Thank you for sharing your story and being so honest and authentic and vulnerable and sassy as fuck. I love that. Where can people learn more about everything you do, your design, your books, your appearances? Where can people go?
So you can check out Amazon for the books and HDD for everything interior design related, and Facebook page for under my personal page is where I post most of the um, all the events for number 10 and everything else. So another website will be coming, but that will do for now.
Well, we'll certainly be
Fabulous.
following you.
Yes, I will be following you too. All right, friends. Well, we have to wrap up another great episode of Wild Her Wisdom. Thank you for taking your time to be with us today. Don't forget to follow us on social media, subscribe on Substack to get our newsletter, and share our podcast with your friends. They need to know this shit, people.
Yes.
Upcoming Wild Her Wisdom podcast, we are going to delve into hormones, dopamine, and a little chocolate. So you'll want to stay tuned.
Thanks for joining us, and always, always stay wild.
And just like that, beautiful soul, we have wrapped up another episode of Wild Her Wisdom. But don't let the journey end here. Come connect with us. Follow us on Instagram, like our Facebook page, and visit wildherwisdom.com to catch up on episodes, grab extra inspiration, and stay part of our Wild Her community. And remember, the conversations here are for your inspiration and empowerment, not professional, medical, or therapeutic advice. Trust yourself and reach out to qualified pros when you need to. Until next time, stay bold, stay brilliant, and keep living your Wild Her life. You are powerful, you are wise, and you are absolutely unstoppable.